I was best friends with my brother's rapist. I met my best friend Keith in the 7th grade. He'd always been kind of entitled and off as he came from money. His parents found out he was gay 8th grade year and were generally accepting. So I don't know why, but he became a serial rapist by the time we were 15. I remember the first time I found out. He threw a party the summer before freshman year and I caught him upstairs on top of some other boy who looked way out of it. He threatened to out my twin brother Carlos. This was around 2007 and Carlos played football and our dad was an abusive and homophobic boss. There's no telling what would have happened to my brother if he'd been outed then. He promised to never say anything or to ever mess with Carlos if I kept my mouth shut. So I looked the other way. He'd target closeted kids he'd target from the GSA or the Queer Youth Center. He'd either drug them or overpowered them when he got them alone if he could. Sometimes he'd throw a party and take advantage of some drunk guy or drug some guy's drink. He'd keep their tighty-whities/briefs or boxers as trophies. I'd convince guys not to say anything under threat of my brother being outed. By the time we were 16 I noticed some changes with my Carlos. He'd withdrawn from everyone and he wasn't himself. He even quit football. A month before we turned 17 he killed himself. Reading the note he left about what happened to him I put 2 and 2 together. That Keith had raped him too. He had the nerve to come to Carlos' funeral. I beat the shit out of him afterwards. I caught him alone one night and I did a hit and run. Keith didn't die but ended up paralyzed from the waist down. No one knew it was me and if Keith did he didn't say anything. Well, was I gay when I was a kid? Like I have just a faint memory. But me and my friend get naked and touch each other bodies. BTW we all are guys and we were like 7 to 9 years old and my worst memory is that I gave a blowjob to one of the guy and he gave me a blowjob. Like I am so much straight that can't tell but bruh. I don't want to remember this and this is my first time ever revealing this to anyone. BF wants to sleep with multiple people. I came into a relationship, it's been almost 10 months now. We are pretty serious and planned a pretty detailed future together, but a new information came to light. He had mentioned earlier that he wants to sleep with various people with different features and personality, to which I responded with okay but I will do the same and after which he backed out. I thought he wasn't that serious. I am not an attractive woman, I think that he might be feeling like he is missing out by being with me. I am not his dream girl but I do know he loves me so he won't be able to leave me. I have been getting this feeling that one day someone better will come along and he will regret choosing me, he won't leave me even then. I have been very loving, patient and giving in this relationship. I thought before all this that we are the only ones for each other, because he kept reassuring me that I am his everything. We were having a very loving conversation and our conversation led to this topic. While we were discussing about our future and talking about building a family, somehow the conversation got to him wanting to sleep with other people. I said that he cannot. He argued is it wrong that he wants to experience. I said is it okay if I go and fulfill my fantasies as well then, to which he opposed very firmly. At this point the fact that I was thinking about our future a minute ago to this, I was on my verge because times are hard right now, we are in a long-distance relationship and we are not able to communicate properly mostly from his side for days and we have been fighting a lot so safe to say I have been really patient. I feel that his treatment, his whole attitude would have been different if I was his dream girl and if I was pretty. I cried the whole night, while he went to sleep. I wrote in my diary, bawled my eyes out and decided to be by his side till he pulls himself out of a difficult situation in which he is in RN. It might take him about 2 to 3 years. He is in a very dire situation, suicidal you can say. And when he gets to where he desires I am going to leave him to live his best life, so that he can explore. Because I cannot be loved in fractions, it hurts. Also I don't want any of us to miss out on anything. I want to be loved fully, whole and just feel that. Also I want him to experience whatever he wants in life. Both of these things cannot coexist and I don't want either to miss out on one. I'm drowning in school loans and I can't take it anymore. I'm a single mom, 31F, with 2 young kids. I work 2 jobs, pay all my bills and still have bare minimum which is fine because I don't need fancy things. My biggest annoyance is that I live in an apartment that is getting too small for us and I can't get out of it because my debt-to-income ratio is too high because of my school loans that I can't pay off. I'm venting because I'm stressed and just want out from under these damn loans. Tired face. I just want a house for my kids that they can grow up in because I never had that growing up with my mom being a single parent of 4. Thanks for reading. I just needed to vent. I beat the living crap out of a 13-year-old a few days ago. I, 25F, and my mom, 47F, went to my mom's friend's house well just call O, 46F. O has 3 kids P, 13 meters, J 12 meters, and L 7F. P and I both have Asperger's autism. O called my mom and I overheard her crying saying she didn't know what to do. P began apparently torturing their animals to death and she just found out that O was sexually touching L and was freaking out. My mom went over to her house and I didn't feel like it was okay for her to just drive everywhere as she had heart surgery a week ago, so I drove her. P actually knows what's right and wrong similar to me. He is autistic, but he's not stunted mentally. He is in honors and skipped 2 grades and can have normal communication and such. He is aware of emotions and such. His mom just lets him do whatever he wants because he will just hit her for not having his way and she never had a backbone and uses his autism as an excuse even though I actually have worse communication than he does at times. I argued with my mom a bit saying P needs to go to some mental institute and away from people since he's nothing but a danger and is showing clear sociopathic or psychopathic signs and he's going to be a freaking serial killer if he doesn't get help but she said O needs to be talked into it and all that stuff. We get there and O is a mess. The house is a mess. Everything is thrown around, holes in the wall. O has a woolen eye which got hit. My mom clams her down. P. At some point P comes in and asks my mom if she brought her motorcycle. She said no and asked why not and if he can ride in the back of it. My mom said she can't drive it because of her surgery. He begins yelling and punches her in the chest. He was going to hit her again after she fell, but I felt a type of anger I absolutely never have in my life before. I have zero violent tendencies and have never been violent in my life, but what happened? I felt like my body moved before I could even think and I body slammed into P. P is about 5 inches taller than me. I'm 5'1", he's 5'6". He's tall as hell. But I just began punching him while screaming as loud as I could that if he touches my mom I will paint the floor red. I just couldn't stop. I didn't even feel pain in my knuckles as I punched him. I just began screaming and P's dad ends up running in as P began trying to hit back. I was lifted off P and just thrown back and P went after me to hit me and I ended up kicking him as hard as I could in the crotch, which made him scream and just fall. My mom was making horrible coughing and breathing sounds and I rushed her to the hospital where she had a heart attack and had emergency surgery. She didn't wake up for 2 days and P's dad wants to press charges. Wallow says she doesn't want to cause issues at all and she feels horrible as my mom basically almost died and I was just defending her. My knuckles are bruised and hurt when I touch them. My whole family and most of P's family say I'm not at fault as I am special needs and only reacted. But I had a few people say I'm a piece of crap and are an adult and I should be thrown in jail. I don't know what to think of the situation.